guys. God bless you. I'm Angelique Burgos.
And I'm Raymond Burgos Jr.
And we're so happy to be here with you guys today. Today we're here to speak to an amazing, powerful couple.
Oh, yeah.
And the Lord has such a great testimony on this couple. And we're so excited to hear everything that God has done before and what He's doing now.
I hope your hearts are ready for this story, because this story is really going to minister to hearts today. When this couple approached us to have this conversation, to be able to openly share their hearts, and when we heard what they wanted to share, me and my wife, I don't know about you, but I was just excited, and just at the same time just so humbled.
Yes, humbled is the word.
Because many times, ladies and gentlemen, we are afraid to share our testimonies.
Yeah.
But you know, the Bible says that we have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony.
That's right.
And we're so excited to hear a testimony that I know is going to impact lives.
Right.
That's going to minister to couples that might be going through some things. And most importantly, to share the redemption story.
Yes.
The redemption story. So.
And before we go in depth into this, and we're going to start speaking to our friends here, the amazing thing is that when the enemy loves to throw stones at you,
Yes.
but the wonderful thing about God is that He makes those stones into stepping stones.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Wow.
So we cannot be discouraged what the enemy throws at you, because we serve a mighty God that makes our mess into a message, our test into a testimony. Amen. So
Amen.
Let me not get into it. So guys, what is up?
What's going
Hi.
on? My name is Victor, and this is my wife Kirsten.
Hello.
And I'm here because I'm going to share my testimony and see where God takes it from there.
Amen.
But I want to start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people may not know what had happened. But there was we had a downfall in our marriage, and it was all through pornography.
Oh, yeah.
And
On both of our ends.
on both of our ends. And so I'm going to share a little bit about how my issue with pornography began.
Okay.
And it all began pretty much through a friend of mine. He was a close family friend, and so, you know, we visited often. And I don't remember exactly how old I was. All I know is that I was probably around the mid-teens, something around there. But
I was
that
younger
would-
than that.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I
But
was in fifth grade.
that was actually
Oh, that's right.
And that was actually the first time that I was exposed to it. At that time, the internet wasn't that big, so it was just all magazines,
Right.
you know. But I didn't know that by being exposed to porn, that it would lead to actually meeting people online.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, you know, and forming ungodly friendships. And I found myself actually talking to women that were willing and able and ready to have these inappropriate conversations. And, you know, they were also willing to share explicit images, you know, and so the access back then and even till now, it's, you know,
Crazy.
it's scary.
Easy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very
Crazy.
scary.
Absolutely.
And it's important to know that this just didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that progressed over time. Because once I was exposed to it, I kind of like wanted to see more.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that curiosity was definitely a factor.
For sure.
Absolutely.
It led me to visit my friend often. And you know, it's not like every time that we went to his house that's all we did. No, we were guys, we played video games, you know. We hung out, we did what guys did, you know, whatever. But a lot of the times during those hangouts, he would bring out his box of magazines.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we would just go right back into it.
Yep.
You know. And little did I know that by turning those pages of those magazines and looking at those images. My life was not only being affected, but it was also being redirected, and not in a good way, in the way that enemy wanted me to go. So there comes a time, when looking is not enough, because you can only look for so long. Eventually, you're gonna want more.
Right.
That's the way sin works. That's the way addiction works.
Absolutely.
Like with every addiction, right? You start it, you keep going, and it's very difficult.
Yes.
Very difficult to stop.
Now you were you were a young kid. Are we looking middle school, elementary?
Yeah.
Like super young.
Super young.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's what brought in the curiosity, because like you're so young, and the first time that you're exposed to these images, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
You're feeling things that you've never felt before.
Right, man.
And
I get that.
As a young boy, man, that's
tough, man.
Yeah, it is. And so, that's why I said curiosity was definitely a factor. And so it's what led me to keep coming back and keep coming back.
Wow, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real. It also reminds me, almost similar to even my story too.
Yeah.
With a friend. That's actually how pornography got introduced into my life. Was actually through a friend. Around that time of elementary school almost. And so when you share that, brother, you really resonate with me as well, because that is how that came into my life too. And that's it's a hard road. It's a difficult road, because you get exposed.
Lonely too. It's a lonely road.
You feel ashamed too. It's like you don't know what to say, how to share that with somebody, or go about it, and then you just, like you said, it's a lonely road. It's a lonely road.
I was exposed to it through a website at, of all places, a library.
No, it's true.
Wow.
Of all
true.
places.
Was it the library at school?
No, it was a library in
Or
town.
just in town?
It was a
Okay.
library in town. I was
it's
looking
true.
up. I was looking up a website to do something for a school project, and I stumbled upon a site, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It happened by accident.
Mm.
It really, honestly
Wow.
did.
And you were very young too, right?
Oh yeah, I said fifth grade, but I think I was a little bit older than that. But I was in grade school, and me being a woman,
Yeah.
it's a man's problem. It's not necessarily a woman's problem.
And that's another lie of the enemy.
Yeah.
That pornography is, the target is men, but women suffer from it as well. And so like you felt shame because you thought, what?
This is not supposed to be for a woman. I'm not supposed to. It's not supposed to have this bad of a grip on me as a woman.
Right.
Well, what a stigma, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because
100%.
because many times when we think of pornography, we think of that, right? We think of this is a male problem.
Yeah.
But if you even look at statistics, you'll see that a high range of porn viewers are women.
Yeah.
As well. It's become I would say like an epidemic.
Absolutely.
And it's become an addiction. I don't know if you were like me, that you would go very deep into just research and just about this as you're going through the addiction. And I come to find that watching pornography and mixing that in with masturbation
Oh yeah.
infuses or induces a feeling of release.
Yeah.
That's almost the equivalent to doing drugs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like an endorphin that's released, it's like getting high.
Wow.
Which hence goes deeper into addiction, right? And
That makes
when you mix
a lot
spirituality,
more sense.
it's interesting because if you notice, there's a release, and then that's when everything like it's finished, and you're just like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, why did I do that? Or why did I even see
Yes.
that?
It doesn't even last that long. That's the
Yeah.
It's like
That's the
almost
guilt.
immediate. It's
Yes,
almost immediate.
Immediately, and just hearing both of your just this little tiny little part of just sharing that, like I could feel the heaviness of it, even though you're no longer a victim
Oh, yeah.
of that, but still it's, you know, there's still bruises there from the past.
Absolutely.
And I'm just gonna be honest, like you guys are so brave, and including you, Ray, and myself, surviving through those hard moments. You know, when I was introduced to it, it was a very sick, twisted way. This moment is not about me, you know, it's about you guys. But I'm just saying that I do relate to what you're saying. Just being 10 years old, first I was raped, and then it led to opening a whole can of worms of that. So yeah, I would say after that, that's when the whole pornography came in, and like I said, it was scary.
Yep.
But then once you came to that point, Victor, where you realized that, what was the next step? You know, you were at your friend and he'll bring out the box and stuff. Like what happened from that point on? Like where did you come to your stop?
Or did it get even deeper?
Yeah, did it get deeper?
That's what I was gonna say. The images were just the beginning. You know, the magazines were just the beginning.
Yeah.
And then eventually, that is what led me to want more. And I was no longer pleased with the images. Now, you know, I wanted to act on it. So I wanted to talk to other women. You know, I wanted to experience more than just the images. I wanted just somebody to talk to in that way, in that sense, you know. And so that's what I said, when one thing led to another thing, it was the images that led me to talking to other women that just influenced these ungodly relationships and brought them forward.
Right.
You know, and the scary thing about it is that it didn't take that much effort to find women like that were willing and able to do these things.
Yeah.
Right.
To find women that were just, you know, you would think that it'd be impossible, that nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
But and just goes to show you, man, how twisted the world is.
Yeah.
And that if you look for evil, you're gonna find evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it didn't take much effort for me to find these types of friendships. You know, I was shocked at the amount of people that I came across that were willing to have these types of conversations, that were willing to share images. And eventually we formed friendships, you know, regular friendships.
So now these were women that you didn't know at all that became friendships?
Absolutely.
Or these were friends of yours just in general that also was part of that?
They were women that I had met online.
Online, okay.
That I didn't know at all before. But after meeting them and doing these things, we became friends. And then that continued. So that progressed.
So this was solely internet relationship. This is not even we've seen each other physically.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was the images that led to watching it online, that led to now wanting to talk to people and acting it out that way through text messages, you know, through all that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it didn't take that much effort to find these people that were just so willing. But it goes to show you that just how God puts people in your life that can bless you.
Yep.
The enemy can also put people in your life that can curse you.
Sure.
And so God places people in your life for a reason, for a season, right? But the enemy can do the same thing too.
Right.
Sure.
You know, he can provide people to mess your life up completely. And look what almost happened with us.
Yeah.
You know, our marriage was almost torn apart because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine,
Yeah.
I never had the internet issue with talking to anybody. but I did become very promiscuous once I gave it away.
Wow.
And that was, I think that was more so he did the online, I did the physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would say that what played a role in that being promiscuous was because of that experience of that open door.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
I
That's
mean,
real.
I don't know if I ever would have given it away at 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the
And
truth.
then that opened that door,
Yeah.
which opened another door, which then I slept with that guy, and then it kind of snowballed.
Yeah. I get it. I know. As I mentioned, in the age of 10, having my innocence being taken away from me.
Yeah.
As Victor said, you experience feelings that you just don't know how to contain it. And I remember one night I was crying and I said, can they just go away? Because I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And I know I'm young and I should be playing with my Barbie dolls right now and playing with my Game Boy that I literally just got that day. And here I am thinking about that.
Yeah.
And then it just led to replacing that emptiness that I was feeling with men and situations. But really, it was where I needed to be redeemed and set free.
Sure.
That I needed
For sure.
to feel liberated.
For sure.
So I relate big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yes.
Wow. And so Victor, so what happened as now you're connecting with these women now physically? Went from, as you mentioned, a magazine to then
Internet.
it went to internet. Now you forging friendships and unhealthy relationships
And
with
so
women.
that was pretty much the end of it, and it just continued on.
Right.
Once, and the thing about it is, one friend wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And so that's how I knew that this was bad, because it didn't matter. It had nothing to do with her. I could have been in a relationship with said person, and I still would have found another person, because that's what this does, right? It's not just about the person, the individual. It's how many times you can do it. What experience you can get from one person versus another person versus another person. Because
Wow.
everybody is different.
Absolutely.
So it's like that curiosity factor that was once on magazines. Now that curiosity factor is like on the personalities of people. So you get to see these different individuals, these different experiences. So what once was images, right? It's no longer that. Now it's a person.
Right.
But after one person, it just keeps going.
Would you say that these experiences, and this is for both of you guys actually, would you say that it skewed your vision or your view on women and view on men? And so what I'm asking is more like, was there like now an expectation in your mind of what a woman should be based upon what you saw on those magazines on the internet?
Oh yeah.
And
Absolutely.
So what should be normal, like what a woman is by definition, versus the fantasy
Oh,
that
absolutely.
you find in the internet? Do you feel like that messed up even just relationships?
100%.
Because you're expecting something even
Absolutely.
from that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Can you touch on that, like that thought process?
It's just more so like, my thing was I became promiscuous, and once that guy left me, I didn't want to be alone. So I'd go find somebody else, but he was awful. And then I would go find somebody else who was awful. And I would go, but I never wanted to sit in that space of just, look what you've done with your life. Just find somebody else. And it was not until, actually, it was probably about a month before I met him. I finally was like, all right, God, I'm done with this. If you want me to be single, I'm single, I'm done. And then he brought me him.
And the interesting thing about that is,
We met online too.
We met online. We met on
We did.
a dating site.
We did.
And again, I was already on this site because of something else. So I was on a dating site for 2 reasons. Okay, the first reason was to expand my territory, I guess, for lack of better words, on women.
Yeah.
So that I can meet more women online. And the second reason was what everybody else goes on a dating site for, because you're getting older. I was getting older.
You're looking for something.
Looking for a
marriage,
decent relationship.
somebody, yeah.
So it was like the sin, but mixed in with the genuineness at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those my 2 main reasons. Like, I want to expand and talk to other women to see what I can get out of that. But I also want to find somebody that I can spend the rest of my life with. So you see how twisted that becomes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like a battle between the flesh and the heart. You know, your genuine spirit of desire.
Right.
Because I think, because we're all Christian, right? We all love the Lord.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that just because you love the Lord, that means, everything is going to go away. And, issues, right? Issues are just, you're going to be able to fight through it. But the truth is, they're going to be storms. They're going to be dry spells and seasons. So even in moments of sin, even when I was going through my struggles, and even struggles, as you get older, right? You love the Lord. And you love the Lord. But this thing is so overwhelming and so just like a weight on your shoulder.
For sure.
Whether that's with pornography or being promiscuous.
For sure.
Or that desire to just, you're looking for something.
For sure.
It's like as if you are just, between a rock and a hard place, I would say, is the thing.
For sure.
You love God, but it's like, I can't let this go.
Yeah.
So that's interesting you say that, because I think that, at least for us, right, and for others, I think if everyone would be honest, I think everyone would agree that that's the struggle always. That's not a rare thing. I do not believe that. I believe that is a normal thing, but people just don't say it.
Yeah.
Right.
And the interesting thing is that the site that we met on was Christian Mingle. So that I guess I purposely picked it to feel better about myself.
And Victor, how long did you have your account up for?
I don't remember.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I don't. I know that I met him very early into it.
Oh.
So
okay.
it must have been early then.
Okay. I was just curious. I was like,
I don't really remember that part.
I know we were talking for about 3 months before we met in person
oh, nice.
through the site. So,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we called. I think that was the longest phone call we ever had.
Our first phone call, was like 3 hours long.
We talked for 3 hours. Yeah.
Ooh, that's nice.
Now, if you know me, you know that I'm an introvert, so I don't really talk much.
Facts.
So for me to
Be on the
phone
phone for
call
3
for
hours.
3 hours, there was something there.
Yeah.
But it just, if you look at it from the bigger picture, you can see that God actually used that site, for His glory.
Absolutely.
Because if it was not for that site, I wouldn't be married to this wonderful woman of God here, right? And if it wasn't for that site, we wouldn't have gone through what we went through, but we also wouldn't have been restored to the level that we have been restored to right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a purpose for this story.
Yes, and you have a beautiful daughter.
Yes.
Yes.
We do.
And she has purpose.
Yes.
She
And so
100%. She works it better than I do.
Oh,
She does.
That's amazing.
And so it just goes to show you, man, what the enemy meant for evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
God takes it around and turns it the opposite direction.
100%.
He turns it for His good. And the funny thing is, not a lot of people know that we met on Christian Mingle. I don't know if I said that already or not.
Yeah.
No, I know.
No, yeah.
But not a lot of people know. Her parent, your mom was the one that...
Mom, I had just broken up with my fiance at the time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sulking. And Mom told me to... I forget how long of a period it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a little while afterwards. And she was, go ahead. And so I applied or set it up. And I think, I want to say I probably met about 2 or 3 guys before him, but not one of them in person.
Wow.
Not one of them in person. And then I met him at my Bible study. Because I figured that if I didn't like him, then the guys from the Bible study goes, okay, bye-bye.
Now, can I ask a very raw, real blunt question?
Go ahead.
So based upon your experiences, you know, with what you've, you know, gone through at this point now with Christian Mingle and, you know, right before you guys meet or right when you're meeting, you already have this expectation, you already have this mindset of sexuality. You already have this mindset of what you desire. Just went through a breakup and fiance. That's big. That means you were close. You were a step to marriage.
Yes.
When you guys met, were you guys the expectation? Like, was he the kind of guy that you were looking for, or was he absolutely the opposite of what you were looking for?
100% no.
And also for you too,
100%
was she
no.
the complete, like, you were not expecting someone, you know, personality, character, all that, you know?
I will
to
tell
be
you
who
this: before him, besides my fiance, who was also white and very tall, I was very into very large, very tall black guys.
Wow. That's real.
And then I'm married to this one.
So I really this is why this is real, guys. This is real right here. This is real right here. This
This
stuff
one's
that
2 inches taller than me.
this is stuff that people will not say in church, but we're gonna throw it out there so people can hear it.
Real people,
Real problems, real God. Shout out to Base of Adults. But I do have to ask, what did draw you guys? So like that's your so that's the type that, you know, at that point. Let me ask you, actually, Victor.
Yeah.
Since she said it, what was your type, Victor?
My type was something that I saw with pornography.
Okay.
And so it's like, you know, the shape of a woman and all that. And so what I saw, it's like what I envisioned me dating somebody, you know,
like that,
like blonde, brunette, whatever, nice figure, and all of that stuff, you know. What the images that you're used to, that I was so used to seeing online, is like, well, I need to find me someone like that, you know. I need to find me someone that has that figure, and some, you know, all of the above, A, B, C, you name it.
It's so, isn't this, and this is not a spiritual thing, the spiritual thing, isn't it so demonic how the enemy can try to draw in a fantasy and skew our vision of what reality is?
Oh, for sure.
You know, because even in that, right? You know, you look at these fantasy men and women that you see on these videos. It's literally like the movies, right? When you look at a movie and you look at actors, these actors don't really necessarily look like that to that degree. They don't. There's a whole process to even look like that, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how the enemy will use something like this to then get embedded into our brain. And I'm saying this through experience as myself and all of us in the room, right?
Yeah.
And twist our reality so much that it's so difficult to look at the natural beauty of a woman, right? Without the reference of this fantasy.
Yeah.
This fantasy now has become reality to us.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, even in your desire of sexuality, like what would get you, you know, and we're gonna get real, right? What would get you aroused naturally does not get you aroused because your mind is thinking about
something else.
This fantasy of this is what it should be.
For sure.
And that is so demonic.
For sure.
And that has attacked all of us, and it's attacked many in this generation, you know. So that's why I ask, you know,
no, he was 100% out of left field.
he was left field, she was right field.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get to center field? How did that, like, what changed? Was it just an instant, like you?
Actually,
like,
no. We didn't like each other at first.
We didn't like each other. At first.
We didn't.
We had an interest.
Yeah.
And then we quickly found out that interest was fading away.
Yeah.
So, but we still kept coming to Bible study. We still hung out.
Wow.
So you know, she showed me how she could sing, and that kind of drew me to her.
Amen. Amen.
So I don't know if that was the anointing or what, but you know, her singing.
I told him the first day, I'm like, just letting you know, I can sing and it's loud, so just relax. just be aware of it. And I could tell when I started, he was not paying attention. He was, from my peripheral vision, he was staring at me, and I could tell that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. I was staring at you too, wasn't I?
And he was the worshiper on the piano. I'm like,
listen.
Yeah, I was singing to worship your living. I went. And you know, back in that time, you guys will get this reference. Back in that time, the way to ask someone out as a Christian at that time was, hey, you know, 2 for $20. Want to go to Applebee's?
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did.
Oh, I miss those days. Gosh, now it's like $30 just for
Let me tell you.
Anyways,
We digress. That's exactly where our first date was. It was Applebee's.
Applebee's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we even went.
We went that night.
After community. Yeah.
Yeah, after we met
After the Bible
in person,
study.
we went on our first date, and we were like,
wow.
If I remember correctly, though, in our first date, what kind of separated us was that I told her that I had somebody else that I was talking to. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
or not, but I
don't.
I remember it.
I don't.
And so that's probably why we separated a little bit or gave each other some space.
Yeah.
Because I was also talking to somebody else. Like, not officially, but getting to know somebody else.
Oh.
So again, this comes with the cycle of that problem of pornography and talking to other women online. But this one, it was just another genuine relationship that I was trying to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and I told you this, you just don't remember.
Listen,
this is very organic. I like this reaction.
My memory is Swiss cheese. I don't remember nothing.
So to say, this is very, I love the organic reaction.
But yeah, fast forwarding to when Kia and I actually become serious with our relationship.
Yeah.
The more we get to know each other, and we realize that we want to spend the rest of our lives together.
Your mother didn't like me at first.
Hey.
Facts.
Us Spanish people like us to stick to, the Spanish, but
the same culture.
I know your parents did. We went to church together.
But anyway, so we knew that we wanted to get serious.
Yeah.
We knew that we wanted to get married.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I still had my struggles with pornography.
I will say that I didn't know how bad of a problem he had.
But you knew of it.
I knew of it, and he knew of mine, but I didn't know that he was talking to people.
Yeah, she didn't know the extent.
So break that aspect down, right? So you guys met, and you guys are not married yet. You guys are just dating at this point.
Yeah.
So how did you guys already know that you guys were dealing with this? Was it just something you guys were open about? Like, hey, I struggle with.
Yeah, when we got serious, I think.
You just say, hey, I deal with pornography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly how that conversation came out.
Either.
I just know that we eventually told each other.
Yeah.
Whether one of us opened up and then the other admitted as well.
Or the fact that I want to say that I left a site open at one point. And you found it, and then I realized that you had the problem too.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to say that was probably. I think that's it.
Memory.
Yeah.
I think that was it.
If you feel open, can you break that down? Like how that happened? How did you know?
It was at my parents' house, and I remember if memory serves me right, again, Swiss cheese. If memory serves me correctly, I had gotten up to take a shower, and he opened up my laptop, and I realized that he was looking at what I was previously looking at, and I thought he was extremely mad at me. Like, I thought he was the angriest I've ever seen. And I realized that he wasn't angry at what I was looking at. He was angry that I didn't tell him.
Okay.
And then it opened up to, it doesn't matter it's okay because I have it too.
Wow.
Okay.
What a. Wow.
And that was the whole baseline of our relationship, was we both have our struggles and we both went into this relationship with those struggles.
Right.
But I didn't realize how bad it was for him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was just on site like I was.
And
Yeah.
that was because the enemy had thrown 2 lies my way. And I believed it. You know, and one of the lies that the enemy threw my way was that once I get married,
It was going to
that
stop.
the addiction would stop.
Yeah.
Because I would have somebody to fulfill my needs.
And that's exactly the lie that I had too. Because I thought I was just going to, I got a man now. Goodbye. That's not how that works.
Right. Well, you know what? You know, the biggest issue, and I think we both can attest to this too, and feel free to share too, is, you know, you come into marriage and then you have these, what they call soul wounds, as my wife was talking about, soul bruises from these experiences, these addictive behaviors, that turn into habits that then get ingrained into personality, right? So then your personality becomes addictive, which is a very deep thing, right? That's the power of addiction that it has. But I think tugging on the whole, you know, when you get into marriage, it should be okay. Maybe this is something that you guys can agree to, or say, yeah, I get you. You come with an expectation. Now I have this person that can fulfill my need. So I'm expecting them to do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And listen, there are some things where, as a married couple, I'm very big on, hey, you know, fulfill your needs with your spouse. Hey, if you want to do things that are going to fulfill each other's needs, you know, and they're not against the Lord, you know, amen.
For sure.
You know, do it. But I think that's the thing, right? It's still the issue of this fantasy that has been ingrained into reality.
There's that line of, will the Lord agree to this? Or will this just be the baseline of what you see?
Right. You know, I want my husband to do or be what I see.
Yeah.
Or I want my wife to do or be what I see.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that, then there's a lack of fulfillment.
Well, you didn't do it, so.
You didn't do it, so but I desire that.
Yeah.
So then I need to
find somebody else to do it.
Right. Or go run to that pornography to fulfill the fantasy in your head. And then justify saying, well, at least, you know,
it's just pictures. It's just websites.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's that this is such a real reality, isn't it?
It is.
Because that's what happens, you know? That's why marriage doesn't resolve addiction.
Yeah.
You know? Marriage is the promise and the covenant of God between each other. But we have to lay down those things at the cross. The addiction at the cross, the lying at the cross, and if it's to the point where it's even like ingrained in your habit, Lord, take this habit, strip it away.
Yeah.
You know, as the word says, I hold every thought captive.
Yeah.
It's wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's really deep. So now at this point, again, so you guys are still not married yet at this point, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So what happens now that you guys both find out, that you guys have this struggle? What happens after that? Accountability or
No.
We just become accepting of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Oh, you have my struggle and I have yours. Okay, let's do the struggle together.
Wow.
And so that's where I failed as the leader, as the head of the house. And instead of leading my family, once we did get married, instead of leading my family to Christ, we were kind of living this double life where we went to church, we did the Christian thing, but we were also struggling with pornography, and I allowed it
Openly.
Oh yeah.
And I knew that she was struggling. I knew what she was doing, and
I knew it too.
And I, as the head of the house, because I struggled with it, I said, "Sure, go for it." help yourself out, knock yourself out.
Would it be, so was it something that you guys would get together and just say,
No,
hey, I'm gonna do this? Or was it just,
we
you
would
know,
separate it.
We would separate it. We didn't really talk about it
Yeah.
much, but we knew that it was happening.
Yeah, within your own time, like
Yeah.
you just understood and
It
respected
was something
that.
it was something that was unspoken.
He was in his office,
really.
the door closed. I knew what he was doing,
Mhm.
and it's just
And this is married now?
Yeah.
Or-
This
okay.
is married. So
Okay.
and that's where being married, I want to say almost fueled
yeah.
the addiction.